Thank you for joining me today for yet another unboxing video. It's a weird one because there's no boxes to unbox, but we do have 4 expansions today for the board game High Heavens. So we have Terrain and Monster expansion, we have Medusa and Valkyrie expansion, Using the Bloodied expansion, and Using the Egyptian Pantheon expansion. So we're going to go through each one of these, but of course you need a copy of the core board game High Heavens when using any of these expansions. For more information about High Heavens, you can always go back one video and you can check out my unboxing that I did for the core box set game. So today, again, we're going to talk about 4 expansions for High Heavens. So I'm going to pull this aside for a moment. I'm going to pull this aside, actually these 2 aside, and we'll start on the top with this expansion here. So the first expansion we have here today is one said Using the Terrain and Monster expansion. This expansion includes 1 terrain card, 1 monster card, 2 terrain miniatures, and 2 monster miniatures. These pieces are neutral game elements and therefore belong to no pantheon. Players can utilize them to customize their game so that every battle is even more varied. This is not a standalone game. 1 High Heavens core set is required to play. Rules of use, terrain, and or monsters in High Heavens come from in the form of cards. These cards are not intended to be used in a Pantheon deck. Instead, keep these rule cards handy as quick references. Again, it's placing terrain and monsters on the board is a collaborative part of game setup. So, again, you have Scylla and Chabardas, and you have Ymir's Bones. And those are the 2 that we have here. So if we look here in the back here, there's the other expansions that we're talking about right here. But so we got 2 cards here that goes with this expansion. We got 2 cards. We got Ymir's Bones, Norse Terrain. Divide all Ymir's Bones evenly between players. Each player may place Ymir's Bones on adjacent to the central hexes. These are now occupied hexes. We have Scylla and Chabardas. Greek Terrain. Place Scylla and Chabardas 2 hexes apart in a straight line, adjacent to 2 central hexes. Any god passing between them becomes disabled next round once adjacent to Scylla, or suffers 1 damage if adjacent to Chabardas. Okay, so we've got the Norse Terrain, which are these pieces right here. Okay. And there are the other 2, which are here. Those are your terrain pieces. So so that's that expansion. That's your terrain and monster expansion. So that's that expansion there. Push that up top here. Next one we'll look at is Using the Medusa and Valkyrie expansion. Again, 1-page set of rules. This expansion includes 2 god cards and 2 miniatures. Medusa belongs to the Greek pantheon and Valkyrie to the Norse pantheon. You can utilize them to build custom decks. This is not a standalone game. 1 High Heavens core set is required to play. Again, deck building with Medusa and Valkyrie expansion. 12 gods, 12 divine powers, no duplicate gods. Of course, you can't have 2 examples of God, you can't have 2 of Thor, in other words. All right. Please note that if the text on a Pantheon card conflicts with anything printed in this manual, the text on the card should be followed. So, again, on the back, it just shows the other expansions that are available. So let's take a look at the cards that are available here. We got a Medusa, Greek demigod, powers. Stony Stare. Any god destroyed by Medusa remains standing on their hex, cannot be healed, and is treated as one. It's basically turned into a statue. One of the Gorgons, Medusa, and her terrifying sister have the ability to turn those that look upon them to stone. So there's the card. There is Medusa. Then the other card we have here is Valkyrie, Norse demigod. Her powers, the Valhalla. 2 lightning bolts. Valkyrie may return an adjacent fallen god to its player's hand. Riding high above great battles, the Valkyrie decides which great warriors will be brought to Valhalla to stand beside great Odin preparing for Ragnarok. Okay. So she's a Norse god. So that goes there. And there is Valkyrie. There she is. Okay, so that's your second expansion. So we have, again, we have a terrain and monster set right there. And we have Medusa and Valkyrie expansion. We're also going to bring this one in. This is just a deck of cards, which I'm going to open up for us. So it says, using the Bloodied expansion. This expansion includes 2 complete sets of 12 god cards, one for the Greek pantheon and one for the Norse pantheon. You can swap out the entire selection of 12 god cards from your core set and replace them with these Bloodied cards, or you can utilize them in part by building custom decks. This is not a standalone game. 1 High Heavens core set is required to play. There you go. You cannot have a duplicate gods. All right. So you're going to pick the card that you want to use along with the core figures in the core set. Again, as I stated earlier, you need to make sure that you have a copy of the core set, High Heavens, to use these cards or to use any of these expansions. So here are the cards again. The Norse gods, you have Thor, Odin, Loki, Balder, Freyr, Tyr, Hel, Heimdall, Hodor, Idun, and Vidar. And of course, Magni. Again, you would take these cards, you can either use some of them or none of them, or you could trade out the old cards for the new cards. Again, these are the Bloodied factions. These are the Norse gods. Okay. And then we also have the Bloodied expansion for the Greek gods. So you have Ares, god of war, Asclepios, Athena, Kronos, Hades, Apollo, Hephaestus, Hercules, Hermes, Artemis, Poseidon, and of course, Zeus. Again, you must have a copy of the core box set to use these expansions. And of course, if you're using this expansion here, these cards replace the other cards, or you can mix and match cards from this set, the Bloody set, and the cards that were in the original box set. All right, now we're moving on to the 4th expansion, which is, sorry about that, which is using the Egyptian Pantheon expansion. This expansion includes a complete Egyptian Pantheon deck containing 12 god cards and 12 divine powers, as well as 12 new god miniatures for use in Heavens. This is not a standalone game. 1 High Heavens core set is required to play. Okay, Pantheon expansion card clarifications. Ra, Swallowed by Night, Secret Venom and Cursed Khopesh, Sekhmet, Knives of Sekhmet, pronunciation K, Nut, Thoth or Tot, Ka-Num, Isis, Ra, Sekhmet, Serket, Makht. So I did my best with those pronunciations. So again, this is the Egyptian Pantheon expansion. So it comes with their capital, Khmunu. So it comes with that. Comes with a deck of cards. And we have Isis, Ra. So let's take a look at this real quick. Again, Isis, Egyptian god of magic. So you have your powers or your strengths. You have your healing hex. Heal a standing or fallen god of Communo in range by 2. So you can give them 2 of those little dial things to add onto them to heal them up. Okay, you're also using that lightning bolt. Sister Osiris and Horus, Mother Isis commands nature and magic to protect and rejuvenate Egypt and its inhabitants. So it's Isis. Ra, Horus, Khnum, Set, Thoth, Nut, Osiris, Sobek, Sekhmet, Serket, Anubis. So those are all your new gods that you can play, part of the Egyptian pantheon. So those are the cards for them. All cards are set up exactly the same, which is the title of the character, what they're known for, their stats, their power, and a little background history about them. So all the cards are set up exactly the same way, whether it's the Norse gods, the Greek gods, or the Egyptian gods. They're all set up exactly the same way, which is helpful. Now you also have here your power cards. Okay. Lake of Fire, Egyptian action. Deal 2 damage to a god, 1 damage to all adjacent non-Egyptian gods. Defense does not block this damage. So disable, Isis restores Egyptian action. Isis restores. Again, all the cards are set up exactly the same. You have the artwork on top, you have the title, what faction it's used for, and then how it's used. Disable, Isis restores. Mot, Egyptian action. Serket's venom, Egyptian action. Armored, Egyptian action. Earthquake. Cursed Khopesh, Scales of Justice, the Great Pyramids, and then you get 2 blanks in case you want to create something else of your own. So that's good. So those are your 12 divine powers. Again, each pantheon has their own set of divine powers and has a set of their own gods. So let us continue on with looking at some of the figures that came with it. So you get 12 of those. Unfortunately, the yellow does not come out as well as the green did or the gray did. But again, at the same time, these are stunning miniatures. Again, I have that cool base where you can just click those things in. They come on easy and come off just as easy. Really, really cool. There you go. Again, we need a little bit of hot water there to bend them back into place. There you go. This one really needs to get bent back into place. But again, the figures are absolutely stunning, beautiful. High detail, very, very good quality. Again, what you do, you match them up with the cards. This way you know exactly which player you're using. But you got another one here. Looks like Anubis. Yep. Really, really cool sculpts. And I've played this. This is a pretty fantastic game. I can be honest with you. Once you get used to the rule set, it's very, very enjoyable. And to pick up these expansions, again, I got them all found them at a flea market at a cut rate price, which is really, really cool. I got everything you see here for about $25, which to me is a really great price for everything. And, you know, it just adds into the flavor of the High Heavens game, which I really, really enjoy. So there you go. It was a good purchase, definitely a good purchase for me. And again, the bases, the dials just go in there very, very quickly, and they come out just as quickly. Excellent figures, as you see. So there you have it. So again, this concludes this unboxing, which really didn't have any boxes, but we unboxed all these expansions. Again, we had our Terrain and Monster expansions up here, which you got 4 figures and 2 cards. You got your Medusa and Valkyrie expansion here, which got 2 figures and 2 cards. Now the Bloodied expansion is a little different. These are the exact cards that you got in the base core set, but they're changed up a little bit. So you can exchange these cards for the ones that are in the core set, or you can kind of create new decks with these. And of course, over here, you have 2 sets of cards here. You have the character cards, and you also have the God cards, and you have the 12 divine powers, which are right here as well. And then you have the 12 figures, which are part of your Egyptian Pantheon expansion. So 4 expansions, all for High Heavens. And remember again, you cannot use these expansions unless you have a copy of High Heavens, the core box set. So as always, thank you so much for joining me for this unboxing video. It was truly appreciated. If you enjoyed it, you can always give us a thumbs up, leave a comment below. Of course, you could always hit that subscribe button. This way you're kept up to date as to any time we release any new content to the page. As always, thank you so much for joining us. Be safe, be well, enjoy the remainder of your day, and we'll catch you on the next unboxing video.